Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a moment in your life when someone looks you in the eye and speaks words meant to break you, not to correct you, but to hurt you, not to guide you, but to challenge your peace. And in that moment, what will you do? Will you shout back? Will you argue? Will you fight to prove them wrong? Or will you look within and stay quiet? Most people think silence means submission, but those who understand the discipline of stillness, the art of silence, know through nature stillness is where real transformation begins. If you've ever been disrespected and felt the fire rise inside you, this talk is for you. If you've ever walked away and wondered if you should have said more, this is for you. Because sometimes the most powerful answer is no answer at all. This is one of the most misunderstood principles in a world obsessed with proving a point. We live in a time where loudness is often mistaken for confidence and quick replies for intelligence. Yet true power does not seek to be seen. It does not rush to defend itself. It simply is. Like a mountain unmoved by the wind, inner strength reveals itself in stillness. When someone disrespects you, every part of you is tempted to respond. Your mind races, your chest tightens, words come rushing forward, ready to be fired like arrows. And in that moment, if you respond without thought, you become a mirror of the disrespect shown to you. You become reactive, not conscious. Your peace is handed over in exchange for temporary satisfaction. Silence is restraint. It is not that you didn't have a reply, it's that you chose not to give one. It is not that you were too weak to fight, it's that the battle wasn't worth your energy. That is strength, that is power, and that is wisdom. The one who can remain calm in the face of disrespect is not doing so because they are numb. They feel everything. They feel the sting of the words, the urge to retaliate, the burning desire to restore their pride. But they also feel something deeper, a pull towards something greater, a pull towards self-mastery. When you react to disrespect, you are allowing someone else to control your inner state. You are letting them dictate your peace. And if your peace can be stolen so easily, then who are you really? Is your strength dependent on being treated fairly? Or can it stand on its own, regardless of the world's noise? This is why silence after disrespect is so powerful. It is the refusal to be manipulated. It is the quiet, unshakable confidence that says, I do not need to respond to prove who I am. And that message is louder than any words could ever be. There is also something deeply unsettling about a person who does not react. When others throw insults and you remain composed, it forces them to look at themselves. It removes the fuel from their fire. You do not play their game. And that changes everything. This form of silence is not passive. It is not weakness hiding behind stillness. It is strength standing guard. It is awareness choosing what deserves your attention. You are not afraid. You are focused. You are not avoiding. You are ascending. In this stillness you learn something most never will. You do not owe anyone your energy. You do not owe them a reaction. And your silence, it speaks volumes. It tells the world that your peace cannot be purchased with cheap words. It tells those who disrespect you that you see through them. And most importantly, it tells yourself that your self-worth no longer depends on external validation. Silence is not the absence of response, it is the presence of clarity. It is the reminder that you've grown, that you've seen enough of life to know which battles are worth fighting, and which are only distractions. It is the discipline of the warrior who knows that a true fight is not on the outside, it is within. And that the greatest victory is not in silencing others, but in mastering the voice within that begs to shout. Stay quiet, let the world misunderstand you, let others talk, let them judge. You. Keep walking, keep your peace, and let your silence carry the strength they'll never understand. Emotional discipline over reaction is not just a virtue, It is a form of personal freedom. Most people live like leaves in the wind, blown in every direction by the actions and words of others. A comment, a look, a tone. That's all it takes to throw them off course. But the one who cultivates emotional discipline does not move so easily. They have anchored themselves, and because of that, they are free. When you are disrespected, it is natural to feel pain. Anger may rise. The urge to defend yourself may surge through your body. Your heart rate increases, your breath shortens, and you feel ready to strike back. This is the body's survival response, the mind's desire for justice, the ego's hunger to be seen and heard. But here lies the difference. Feeling something and acting on it are not the same. Emotional discipline is the space between stimulus and response. It is the ability to notice the rising fire within and choose not to pour it out onto the world. It is the strength to pause, breathe, and remain rooted in clarity rather than chaos. And that choice, that gap between reaction and restraint, is where your power lives. To master this discipline, you must first stop judging your emotions. You are allowed to feel disrespected. You are allowed to feel hurt. But you are not required to let those feelings drive your actions. You must observe them like clouds passing in the sky. Acknowledge them. Respect them. Reacting immediately is easy. Anyone can snap back. Anyone can yell, insult, defend, or attack. That takes no skill. What takes real mastery is the ability to feel everything and still choose silence, stillness, or a response rooted in purpose rather than pride. This is what separates the impulsive from the intentional. One reacts to protect the ego, the other responds, if at all, to protect peace. People will push your buttons. Some will do it unknowingly, others intentionally. They may provoke you to feel superior. They may disrespect you out of their own pain. But your job is not to control their behavior. Your job is to control your own state. Because the moment you react without discipline, you are no longer in control. They are. Think of emotional discipline like a sword in its sheath. It is there. It is sharp, but it is not waved around wildly. It is held with reverence and only drawn when absolutely necessary. That is how you must treat your emotions. Let them serve you, not rule you. There is also peace in this way of living. Imagine not being constantly pulled by every rude comment or negative glance. Imagine walking into a room, fully aware of the energy around you, but completely unmoved by it. That is the calm confidence of someone who owns their reactions. That is the stillness of someone who chooses inner harmony over outer noise. And this doesn't mean you allow people to walk over you. No. It means you pick your responses with wisdom. You don't speak every time you're provoked. You speak when it serves your growth, your integrity, and your values. You're not silent because you're afraid. You're silent because you've already won the war inside. This is emotional discipline. It is earned, not given. It is practiced, not assumed. And once you have it, you realize something profound. You are no longer controlled by the world. You are guiding yourself through it. So the next time someone disrespects you, pause. Feel the wave rise. Watch it. Then breathe. Choose who you want to be, not what they want you to become. And in that space, find your power. Every interaction, every reaction, every moment you engage with disrespect costs you something. Sometimes it costs your peace. Sometimes your self-respect. But most often it drains your energy, silently, invisibly, until you're left wondering why you feel exhausted, anxious, or unsettled long after the moment has passed. That is the hidden price of engaging with what does not deserve your attention. Many people don't realize this. Energy is not just physical, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual. And every time you react to disrespect, every time you argue with someone who has no intention of understanding you, every time you try to correct someone who deliberately misrepresents you, you are making an investment. But what are you getting in return? Disrespect, by its very nature, is not seeking truth. It is not an invitation to grow or connect. It is a projection of someone else's pain, insecurity, or ignorance. And when you respond with equal force, trying to prove yourself or fight back, you enter into their world, a world ruled by chaos, noise, and imbalance. There is a better path: preservation. Preserving your dignity doesn't mean you walk away in shame. It means you walk away in power. You walk away knowing that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. You walk away because you understand that not every fight is yours to fight, and not every attack deserves a response. Think about how much energy you've spent in your life trying to explain yourself to those who already made up their minds, trying to defend yourself against people who never cared about the truth, trying to fix misunderstandings with people who are more interested in conflict than clarity. And ask yourself, what did that cost you? Sometimes, silence is not about avoiding confrontation. It's about choosing where to place your energy. Would you rather spend your strength climbing mountains that elevate you, or battling shadows that only drain you? When you preserve your dignity, you're not running from conflict. You're choosing not to be controlled by it. You're choosing peace over pride. And that choice is not weakness, it is wisdom. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, preserving your energy is a form of rebellion. It's a way of saying, I am not here to entertain chaos. It's a decision to invest your focus where it matters: your growth, your peace, your purpose. We often underestimate the power of disengagement. We think we have to respond to everything, that silence means agreement, that walking away means losing. But the truth is, silence often speaks louder than defense. It shows that you don't need to lower yourself to someone else's level to feel worthy. You already are. There is great dignity in remaining composed while others lose themselves. There is strength in staying rooted while others throw stones. And there is deep power in choosing yourself over a moment of ego-driven reaction. The most powerful people are not those who win every argument. They are the ones who know which arguments are beneath them. They are the ones who understand that their energy is not infinite, and that preserving it is essential to living with clarity and purpose. So when you disrespect it, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? And if the answer is no, then walk away, not in silence but in sovereignty. Hold your head high, let their words fall like dust. You are not here to chase every noise. You are here to walk your path with power. Inside every person there is a constant conversation, a tug of war between the ego and the soul. The ego is loud. It seeks validation. It wants to be right, to be seen, to have the last word. When someone disrespects you, the ego is the first to react. It flares up instantly, whispering, don't let him get away with that. Show them who you are, speak louder, hit back. It's hungry for recognition, for control, for dominance. The soul is different. It doesn't need to prove anything. It knows that truth doesn't scream. It knows that your worth isn't reduced by another person's inability to see it. It observes what the ego cannot. That some battles aren't meant to be fought with words, and that silence can sometimes be the most dignified response. When you're disrespected, the ego feels threatened, and when it feels threatened, it lashes out. Not because it's strong, but because it's fragile. The ego cannot stand stillness. It needs noise to feel alive. It thrives on external feedback, applause, approval, even opposition. But the soul is rooted in a deeper kind of awareness. It doesn't react to protect a reputation. It rests in the certainty of who you are, regardless of what others think. You will feel that tension rise in you, the inner pressure to answer, to correct, to put someone in their place. And if you've not learned to recognize the voice of the ego, it will speak for you. It will hijack your words. It will use your voice to defend itself. But once you've seen this pattern, you gain a choice: to let the ego shout or to let the soul breathe. Choosing silence in the face of disrespect is not about ignoring your pain or denying the wrong that was done. It's about deciding who you want to be in that moment. Do you want to be a reaction or a response? Do you want to be loud or do you want to be wise? There's nothing impressive about shouting back. Anyone can do that. What takes courage, what takes maturity, is the ability to remain centered while the ego begs you to explode. It takes a different kind of strength to stay quiet when the world expects noise. That strength doesn't come from force, it comes from alignment with your deeper self. The soul understands something the ego never will. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not every insult requires a comeback. Not every situation needs your fire. The ego wants justice in the moment, even if it costs your peace. The soul chooses peace, even if it means walking away without winning. The most powerful thing you can do is allow the disrespect to fall to the ground untouched. You don't pick it up, you don't carry it, you don't throw it back, you just let it be what it is, a reflection of the other person, not a definition of you. And in that silence, something magical happens. You create space. Space for clarity, for healing, for higher thoughts to rise. That space is where transformation begins. It's where you move beyond the small games of the ego and step into the grounded presence of your soul. The next time you are provoked, pause. Listen to the voices inside you. You will hear the ego, urgent, angry, desperate to be heard, and you will feel the soul, still, firm, present. Choose the one that leads you toward peace. Not every storm needs your thunder. Sometimes the most echoing power is found in your quiet. When someone disrespects you, it's natural to question yourself. You might start wondering if what they said is true, if their treatment reflects something lacking in you. This is the trap many fall into, confusing someone else's behavior as a statement of their own worth. But the truth is much simpler and far more powerful. What others say about you, how they treat you, and how they respond to you is often a reflection of themselves, not of you. Disrespect says more about the one giving it than the one receiving it. People see you through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, wounds, and insecurities. When someone is angry inside, they will find a reason to lash out, no matter how kind you are. When someone is hurting, they will often try to project that pain onto others, hoping it will lighten their own load. And when someone feels small, they may attempt to make others feel smaller, not out of strength, but out of fear. If you internalize their behavior, you take on a burden that was never yours. Their judgment becomes your prison, their anger becomes your weight, and their disrespect becomes your identity, but only if you accept it. This is where silence becomes your shield. When you refuse to respond, you are not just ignoring their words, you are refusing to accept their reflection as your truth. You become the mirror instead. You show them who they are by not playing their game. In your calm, they see their chaos. In your peace, they feel their noise. And in your stillness, they are confronted with the parts of themselves they tried to hide by attacking you. That's the real power of silence. It doesn't just protect your energy, it forces others to face their own. It's easy to take things personally, but maturity teaches you this. Not everything aimed at you is about you. Sometimes you are simply in the path of someone else's storm. If you catch every arrow thrown in your direction, you'll end up carrying the weight of battles that aren't even yours. Let them fall. Let them pass. Not everything deserves to be held. When someone disrespects you, they are revealing something. Not something about your character, but something about their own. A person who is grounded, whole, and secure does not need to belittle others. A person at peace does not throw chaos into the world. Recognize that, and in that recognition reclaim your power. The problem arises when we make their actions personal, when we begin to believe that their inability to see our worth means we have none. But your value isn't up for negotiation. It doesn't change based on someone else's blindness. You don't lose dignity because someone failed to recognize it. What you are remains intact, whether they see it or not. So instead of responding with anger or defensiveness, respond with awareness. You don't have to absorb their energy, you can observe it. You can witness it and let it pass, like watching clouds move across the sky. No resistance, no attachment, just presence. This doesn't mean you never speak up, but it means you speak when it's wise, not when you're wounded. You respond when your voice adds value, not when your ego demands revenge. Your silence, your poise, your stillness. These are not signs of defeat. They are signs that you've seen through the illusion. You've realized that disrespect doesn't define you. It exposes the one who gave it. Let them throw their stones. Let them raise their voices. You don't need to mirror their energy. You are the mirror. And that is more powerful than anything they could ever say. When you are disrespected, there's a surge inside you. A sudden rush of emotions, thoughts, and urges that demand immediate action. The ego cries out for justice, the heart aches to be understood, and the mind begins constructing arguments to defend itself. In that moment, silence may seem unnatural, even weak, but in truth, silence is the pause that allows transformation. It gives you space. Space to observe, to understand, and most importantly, to choose. Because when you react without thinking, you are not choosing, you are being pulled. But when you pause, when you sit in silence, you begin to see clearly. You create distance between yourself and the moment. And in that distance, wisdom emerges. The silence after disrespect is not empty, it is full. Full of lessons, full of revelations, full of healing. You begin to notice patterns, both in others and in yourself. You start to recognize what triggers you, what still hurts, what remains unresolved. And this awareness is the first step to growth. Sometimes we react because we haven't healed. A small comment cuts deep, not because it is sharp, but because it touches a wound that is still open. Silence allows you to find those wounds, to acknowledge them, and to begin the slow process of healing them. Not through more noise, but through understanding. Reflection is a mirror. In silence you see not only what the other person did, but how you responded, why you were affected, and what it reveals about your own inner landscape. This kind of honest self-inquiry doesn't happen in the heat of an argument. It happens when you are still. It happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you are left with only yourself and your truth. And from that reflection comes the ability to rise. Not above the person who disrespected you, but above your old self. Above the habits of reacting, defending, retaliating. You begin to realize that rising is not about looking down on others. It's about no longer being pulled down by them. You elevate because you've chosen clarity over chaos. Silence is not suppression, it is redirection. You are not pushing your feelings away, you are guiding them inward, toward understanding. And that inner guidance leads to transformation. You begin to speak less, but mean more. You begin to act less impulsively, but with greater impact. Your presence becomes stronger because it is no longer scattered, it is centered. In this way, silence is not the end of the conversation, it is the beginning of something deeper. It is where your true response is born. Not a reaction from pain, but an expression from strength. Maybe that response is action. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe it's distance. But whatever it is, it comes from a place of alignment, not imbalance. And healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about being wiser. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you no longer seek validation from those who cannot see it. It's about recognizing that the disrespect of others is not your responsibility to carry or correct. So when you choose silence, you are not giving up. You are giving yourself time to reflect, to realign, to heal, and to rise. And when you rise, you do so with clarity, with dignity, and with a calm strength that cannot be shaken by noise. Let the world speak. Let others stumble in their haste. You Be still. Be quiet. In your silence, you are building something unshakable. And when you rise, you'll do so not in response to disrespect, but in the power of knowing who you truly are. So next time someone disrespects you, pause. Let them speak. Let them finish. Let them show you who they are. And you stay quiet. Not because you're afraid, but because you've already won the battle within. Silence is not the absence of response, it's the presence of wisdom.